I am well, I am blessed, and I am prosperous. Hi, family, how are you? Today, I wanted to take the time and share a bit of my story about how I became diagnosed with neuromyelitis optica slash transverse myelitis. It's only going to be, I'm going to try to condense the story. It's pretty lengthy. I've written about it in my book, NMO, Not My Option. But I'm going to give you as brief of a journey as I can because I don't want to hold you long. But back in, I have to say, early February of 2016, a friend of mine, we had gone out and met up for cocktails and dinner this particular evening. And so after that, we were going to go out and no, we were going to go out and go to a club afterwards. So we did that. So we got to the club, and as we were entering into the club, I always wore high heels. So as we were entering into the club, I tripped and I fell. And at the time, I thought maybe my high heel had gotten caught in the sidewalk, the crack of the sidewalk. So I laid there for a minute, and the security, they like, "Are you okay?" And I just laid there. I'm like, "Oh yeah, I'm fine." They were like, "Well, you still down there on the ground. Do you want us to call the paramedics?" And I was like, "Oh no, 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 don't call the paramedics. I didn't want all that drama and all that scene." So, I had gotten up, and needless to say, we did not go into the club. So my friend had drove home, and um, from then on, it seemed like my health just kind of started to slowly but surely decline. And what I mean by that is, for me in particular, with my situation, and on my right thigh, no, I'm sorry, on my left thigh, on the inside, I kept having this irresistible itch, just I don't know, it's unexplainable. I know how many of you had symptoms that were unexplainable. Raise your hands, give a thumbs up because you know what I'm talking about. So I had this itch, and I had been having it for quite a while, even before I had gone out with my friend. And I had gone to the doctor for it several times. I had went like to the doctor 3 weeks in a row. Once it was to my primary doctor was out of town, so I had saw a stand-in doctor. Didn't really like the results she told me. She said it sounded like I had sciatica. So I was prescribed gabapentin, and so that just did not sit well with me. So I had gone to an urgent care. Told the urgent care, I was looking, hoping they was going to do something different, like some x-rays or something, I don't know. And so he saw in my chart that I had just saw the other doctor 1 week prior. So he said, well, just continue to take the medicine and we'll monitor and see, if things don't get better, just come back and see us and then we'll go from there. Well, that didn't sit well with me either. So the next week, I had gone and saw my primary doctor. And, I was telling her, I got this itch going on. I don't know what's going on with it. So she had me go and she put in orders for an ultrasound of that area. And if I'm not mistaken, the results came back something lymph nodes. I don't know if the lymph nodes were inflamed or something along those lines. And so at that point, I just kind of gave up. I'm just like, well, I don't know. I don't know what's going on. And so I had, gone on home, had my medicine. I never took the gabapentin. I may have taken it once or twice when they first prescribed it, but after that, I opted not to take it. I didn't like the way it made me feel. How many of you know how that is? Those of you with autoimmune illnesses and the different medications that they prescribed us, or that they prescribe us, they just don't sit well with our bodies. Some make us fatigue, some give us brain fog, and, a whole host of other, issues. So I just opted not to take the gabapentin. So as I'm at home, I'm just getting sicker and sicker to the point I had two children at home still, school age, not real little, but uh, elementary and high school, early high school year. And so I had to have my mom come over and kind of help me out because I just couldn't get out of the bed to feed them. How many of you can testify to that? To feed them, to take them to school, pretty much, to do anything. I would try to eat. I couldn't eat. I couldn't hold anything down. Gatorade, water, nothing. I had just got to a point to where I would just vomit, just I guess stomach lining because there was nothing there. You know how you get at some point you get an appetite like you want to eat, but then when you get the food and you smell it, it's just like that's okay. So I was on that path, and so one evening, I had to use the restroom. I felt like I had to use the restroom, so I got up. You know what I'm saying? My back, the bathroom from my bedroom was not far, so I got up. You know, when I got up, felt I felt kind of shaky in the sense of walking, but of course, I didn't pay it any attention. I just, kind of blamed it on feeling, blamed it on the illness and being sick and in the bed for so long. So I had went to the bathroom. Now, when you have to urinate, you sitting there and you waiting for it to, trickle on out. Well, that never happened. And so I thought, well, this is kind of weird. And it was hurting because, I had urine there that wanted to pass and it wouldn't pass. So I came on back out of the bathroom, and as I walked back to my bedroom, one of my legs gave out and I fell. And I just thought, that's weird. And so my mom helped me up. So I got on back into the bed. Um, I didn't think much of it like right away, but I was thinking of it. You know what I mean? And so I just started putting two and two together, and I'm like, I'm just sick, and I can't hold any food down. Um, I went to the restroom. I can't pee. I've fallen, and I had to have help to get up. I've fallen, and I can't get up. So anyway, I just decided to call the paramedics. I I just decided to call the paramedics. So they came out. I described what was going on. So they, immediately they had to. Like, I live upstairs. So there were 17 stairs to get into my place. So they had to put me in. They have this chair that they, can strap you in and, take you downstairs. So they strapped me in, took me to the hospital. And I just have to say, I thank God that, um, because normally, you get some doctors in the ER and some of them are clueless, you know what I'm saying? I'm sorry to say. And then some of them are very knowledgeable. And I have to give thanks to God that the doctors there, when I came in, were pretty knowledgeable because they addressed my situation, fairly quickly. But while I was sitting in the emergency room, I just felt like my feet, I just felt them, a numbness. And I couldn't move my feet. I thought I was hallucinating. I was saying to myself, now, can I really not move my feet? And I really couldn't move my feet. And it just slowly moved from my feet all the way on up, apparently to my waist. And it probably stopped at my waist only because of how fast, the doctors assessed me and acted. So, as many of you know, of course, immediately they started me on the high dose steroids. And that's to calm down the inflammation that's going on in the body. So, they started me on the high dose steroids, and they had to admit me into the hospital. And from there, I had the normal procedures that they go through. I don't think everybody that has NMO or transverse myelitis may have had every single step, but a lot of us have had some of the same steps, whether it's one of them, three of them. For me, I had the high dose steroids. I had, I guess that didn't do enough to kind of get me back on track. So then I had plasmapheresis. So they recycle the plasma, try to clean the plasma out to see if that would help, to restore, some functions in my body or in my lower limbs. And that didn't, that didn't do anything. And so the way they came about having my diagnosis, uh, or making sure that they have the correct diagnosis and not misdiagnose me, they had to do the spinal tap. Ouch. That thing hurts. For me, it did anyway. So they did a spinal tap, and they have to send that fluid off to the Mayo Clinic because the Mayo Clinic, I guess, whatever equipment they have, gives a definite diagnosis. So they sent that fluid off, and along with the MRIs. So apparently, according to where the lesions were on my spine, along with the spinal tap, uh, the fluid that they sent off to the Mayo Clinic, they all came back positive for NMO, neuromyelitis optica. And so I can remember being in the hospital, and sometimes they have all kind of like new doctors. So I just felt like I was like some kind of spectacle. You got all these different doctors coming in, and they, explaining to the doctors, what I have. Initially, they gave the original term Devick's disease. And so I'm like, Devick's disease? Well, what is that? And I can remember asking one of the doctors. Now, I wasn't real familiar with MS, multiple sclerosis. I've heard the name, and I've always attached like something, ooh, really scary to that. So for some reason, I asked the doctor. I said, "Well, is that worse than MS?" And he said, "Yes." And I'm like, "OMG!" I said, "Here I am, hoping I don't have MS, and I'm being told I have something that's worse than MS." Anyway, in his terms. And so, um, yeah, so I had the high dose steroids, I had the MRIs, I had the spinal tap, I had the plasmapheresis, and still, no movement, no recovery in my lower limbs. So then I had to move on. My doctor started to give me a treatment called Cytoxin. So I had the Cytoxin treatment, and it seems like with every Cytoxin treatment, I started to regain like some movement. And believe me, I was in that bed praying and saying to myself, you know, this cannot be it. You've got to walk again. And so that was pretty much my journey um, into how I became diagnosed with NMO. So it was gradual. It started off gradual, and then it just, took a downhill plunge fairly quick. So, I'm just grateful that I'm at a place now to where I'm getting back to being myself, and I can share my information, I can share my story, in hopes to inspire somebody else, and in hopes to, have somebody else have hope with their situation, whether you are brand new to NMO or whether you had NMO for, a fair amount of time. For me, NMO slash transverse myelitis, because it affected, my walking ability for a great amount of time. And I was in, let me see, between the hospital and I was in the hospital 2 months. Then I went to a skilled nursing facility for 1 month, and then I went to a rehabilitation center for a month. So I was away from home for a total of 4 months. And that's a long time, to be away from your home. But anyway, I hope that my other videos and my talking can help to inspire you. Please give it a thumbs up, and please, please, please share the video. Maybe it can enlighten or, help brighten somebody else's day. And please subscribe, because I'm going to be placing a lot more videos here, for, you know, for those with any type of autoimmune illness, to take a look at, and, and listen to, and hopefully it helps, brighten, your days. So thank you, and I will see you all again soon.